Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
Today we're going to start out talk about, basically, since it's our first show, what is SEO? What is search engine optimization? And with me I've got Caleb, who has been in the industry for quite some time and is also an expert in the search engine realm. So, Caleb, you want to start us off?
Hey, how's it going, Robert?
Hey.
I know we said we're going to talk about SEO in 2015, which is a loaded question, to say the least, on what SEO is, what the outlook is for 2015, best practices,
I think,
trends.
Yeah, I think that everybody's got their own idea of what it is.
Well, I mean, you see constantly. You can read any article online, and it seems like everybody has different opinions on what's going to work best for your website. But hopefully we can kind of iron that out a little bit today and get some stuff moving in the right direction.
Definitely, I agree. Well, I'd say to start out, what SEO is to me, and you can start really anywhere in this subject, but I would have to say it's not about just ranking a website. It's not. It's not. Getting someone first page of Google. And forgetting about it. It starts at the core of the website. It's at the core, which is the website, and it's everything. It's what the user experience of the site is. What is it easy to navigate? Is the content legible? Is it written for search engines or is it written for people? And I think people lose that the vision of who's actually looking at the website and how to make it work for you. But
yeah, absolutely. I think you just hit on it right there. I think the more you try to gear your site, your content, anything you're trying to do, the more you try to do it for search engines, the worse off you're going to be.
Exactly.
Because the more Google they're progressing, and what they're looking for is the whole user experience. Yeah. And the old way, you've been in the business for a long time. The old way is you focus on keywords, you focus on ranking for that specific keyword, you pound links into it, and you try to basically manipulate the system. You try to manipulate the search engines, and all that's dead and gone. And now it's all about you focus on the user, who's going to be on your site, what audience you're trying to get to interact with your website. And I think the more you focus on the user experience and forget about search engines in general, the better off you're going to be.
I agree with you. And I mean, Google looks at every aspect of a website. Like if a person goes to a website and all they do is bounce all day long, I mean, the visitor just bounces off a website, Google's going to look at that. I mean, look where our analytics come from. It's Google.
Well, just one thing for people who might not know, what do you mean by bounce?
A bounce rate is when a person visits a website and they leave that page. You don't go anywhere else in the site, and it's under 30 seconds of them being on that page.
So, I mean, basically, your content isn't engaging. It's
right.
Not good. It's not leading the user, the reader, towards anything, which, I mean, I think a lot of sites are finding, especially the news-related sites that just pump out content, necessarily aren't selling anything, that they can see their bounce rate be pretty high. But just like you said, the analytics, that's showing you that you really don't have quality content. So definitely. Basically, everything you do should be focused on benefiting the user.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of what we're getting down to for 2015. And I think that's the whole mindset that we have to have, and like we said, forgetting about search engines in general, and just focusing on your content, and providing quality.
Right, and it's not only just what's on the page; it's the load time, it's the way the navigation is laid out, so a person visiting your site can easily find what they're looking for, and as easy as 1 or 2 clicks. And you want to make it so that when they look, say they're looking for a product or something, they're not looking all over the page for that product. It's right where they're looking at, and everything is relevant to that product. You're given the benefits and all that stuff of that product, as well as, you know, it's, I mean, and then the other thing too is the time, how long the site loads. Me and you were working on that today.
Right.
Where, you know, you got to get that load time down. That is a huge ranking factor.
I think that's one that a lot of people forget about too.
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
really pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, of course, you want to make sure that your page titles, your meta descriptions, all that is relevant to what you're talking about on that page. It's not about stuffing keywords into a bunch of content. You know, it's
Definitely.
it's got to be written to entice the user.
Right. Well, I think some websites can overdo it, and some websites can underdo it, and you know, there's a nice middle there on what you're trying to provide and what you're relaying to your user, to your audience, and your website just needs to be clear. It needs to be, like you said, easy to navigate. It needs to be clear, full of useful content, and not misleading the audience, the user in any way. So. Yeah,
and when you're out there shopping for a person that's an expert in SEO, you really need to find somebody that's well diverse in the whole gist of it. You know, they're looking at the big picture. You know, it goes from the website to the way website is laid out, what the conversion rates are. I mean, SEO has come a long way in the past 5 years. I mean, it's if you focus on getting the site to where it's converting around 5%, you're going to want to keep tweaking and A/B testing those. But I think we got a caller, and Frank, you're on the air.
Okay, thank you. My question is, how is the best way for a small company to compete against the larger companies in regards to how Google considers branding now being that important?
Well, Caleb, you want to answer that one?
Well, I think a lot of small websites, a lot of small companies are finding it very hard to compete, and that's when they fall into the trap of trying to build too many links, too many spamming links, pump it into one keyword to rank for that keyword. It really is all about branding yourself, but it really trying to do something too quickly, even if you're a small company, is just going to end up hurting you in the end. So it's all about building your website from the ground up, building your brand from the ground up, and making yourself a power player in that specific category, in that specific industry. And you can do that in a lot of ways, but it does take time. It can be difficult, and you can want to pull your hair out sometimes, but there's a lot that goes into it.
And Frank, the thing too is that you want to build your brand, obviously, but you want to. It kind of goes into that keyword research thing. Like if your competitor's ranking against a specific product that you carry, and it may be a certain phrase that they're ranking for, maybe go after that in a different way.
Right.
Find a keyword it's same or similar, not the same, but similar to that one you're bidding on that your competitors are going after, and trying to find that's where the creativeness comes into it. I mean, you have to do the keyword research and see, where that particular product or service is being offered and how it's being, how your competition is ranking on that, as opposed to maybe a different variation of that keyword or topic.
Right. I think a good thing is to see what your competitors, no matter how big or small may be, is see what they're doing right, see what they're doing wrong. But you can use similar tactics in a different way to help build your brand.
Frank, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
No, that's the big thing, as far as to compete against branding. And I assume Google views branding as how many people are coming from social media sites or from non-organic or paid searches.
Yeah, when Google's talking about the branding being more important, is because as those companies like Walmart or something like that, they have a huge brand. It's hard to compete against those. So you really have to be creative in that part, and finding the keywords to work for to get ranking. But you definitely have to work your brand too. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. You know, your brand and it is your product, and you back your product. So I hope that answers your question. I'm kind of
I think one good thing is, and just because I do have link building is kind of a little bit of my background, is find a community with your niche online. Get very active within that community. Stay in the conversation, whatever it may be. Let them know that, hey, you're active in it. People need to be visiting your site for this reason. There's a lot of great opportunities for, editorial link building, natural link building that can help build your brand a little bit. But if you can find your way into certain communities, certain niches that is relevant to what you're doing, stay in the conversation and get people noticing you. It can definitely help build your brand. It might take a little bit of time, but it can be a good start.
Yeah, and another great community for that would be Twitter.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been on my YouTube channel, but I've got a video there on how to use Twitter for your business. You can find so much business there. If you watch that video, it'll open your eyes. You'll be able to find people looking for your product or service, and it can be amazing. It can be a goldmine for you. All right.
There's always an audience for whatever you're doing and whatever you're offering. It's just you have to be able to find them, and once you find them, then it can be a little easier. But you got to use the research to find them.
All right, Frank. Thank you for your call, and I hope you call in again if you have some more questions. Like I said, it's our first show, so we are taking callers, and I appreciate your call. Okay, I think what we're going to talk about next is setting expectations. If you're an agency or or just an SEO that's looking to pull on clients, one thing in this industry is we don't promise results.
And if you run into somebody that does promise results,
run the other way.
Run the other way. Trust me, run the other way.
It's a huge red flag, especially I'm sure people all day long I get emails asking if I need SEO for my website, and it's kind of funny. But just looking at them, it's just ridiculous. They're using 2005
going way back.
For the internet now. 2005 tactics that'll get you banned or what do you call it? A manual penalty on your site,
which are hard to come back from. Definitely. Managing expectations can be very difficult. If you work in an SEO firm or if you do any type of freelance work, you're always going to get somebody. Actually, not just somebody. You're going to get a lot of people that want immediate results, and it can be very hard to explain to them that good SEO takes time, and it's you might get lucky every once in a while, and within a short period, you're either ranking for a keyword, you're on page 1, 2, 3. But good SEO, no matter how big, how small the website company may be, it just takes time.
The other thing you got to watch out for, too, is when you approach an SEO company, they shouldn't be straight off the bat asking you what keywords you want to rank for.
No.
Because first thing they need to do is evaluate your site.
Yes.
Evaluate maybe if you have an AdWords account. Evaluate the keywords that are causing or getting you those conversions and sales. It should be that person should have the knowledge to be able to go in and see, because, say you have a keyword that you're buying in AdWords or Facebook or something that, you're getting a 10% conversion rate. That's an obvious keyword that, a great source to get that information. And Google Analytics, we can bring data back, for however long you've had it installed on your site. So we can get a really good idea of who your market is, who your competitors are, all that stuff. There's competitive analysis that has to be done before even keywords come into fact. Is you might think that there's a keyword that you is just going to make you money, and you could be totally off base and waste of time. I've had clients in the past that just swore up and down that they wanted to pay for a keyword that it was so broad. They weren't getting conversions, but they were spending thousands of dollars on this keyword. And, that stuff happens, but, you've got to be, as a professional, go in there and show the client, hey, okay, according to Google, these are your competitors. It may not be the competitors that you say are your competitors, but from an online standpoint, your competitors may be totally different from others. And then we can look at what they've been doing to be successful, and in tweaking your website. All that stuff comes first before you even start ranking, because I can drive traffic to your site all day long and send you thousands of people, but if there's something wrong with your site, whether it's not indexing or the conversion rate is low, and then it's worthless,
Right. Well, I think if you find if you're looking for an SEO firm, if you encounter one that doesn't want to get down and dirty with your site, I mean, just like get into it and, like you said, do a site audit and do the research and really find what's going to build your brand, build your website naturally, what's going to avoid penalties. If they're all they're talking about is driving traffic, I think that's a red flag right there, because they're not really caring about how user friendly your site is. If there are any penalties that you may be subject to, anything that goes along on quality SEO. If they're just wanting to provide instantaneous results for you, and it's going to end up hurting you in the long run.
Absolutely. And Google has over 200 different ranking signals. So if that person, when they give you that, they need to give you some tangible report that tells you, here's my competitors, or here's your competitors, I'm sorry. Here's what they're doing on social media. Here's what they're doing in we can get a good idea of what they're bidding on for keywords in ads. We have tools that do that. We can tell you who they're linking to, how much traffic they get roughly to their site, and what are they doing different that you're not doing. Yeah. And then we can tweak that and make your site just shine, and bring people and get that conversion rate going up. And then once that's up, it's time to start SEO. Yeah. Because then you'll start getting the traffic, the conversions, and the sales, and you'll be the happiest client on the planet. And and another big part of that is it should always make sure they do a site evaluation.
Yes, definitely. Well, like you said, I think that's where a lot of companies that seek SEO help, they run into the situation where they need an immediate fix, whatever's going on, and somebody that provides that immediate fix, they go ahead and jump into bed with them, per se. Yeah. And so that's where they really get themselves in trouble. And I think somebody that can always ask as many questions, get as much detail as possible about their process. Now, of course, they can't give everything away, but understand from top to bottom, what are they going to offer you and how are they going to help you?
Yeah, and sometimes sometimes it's bad news. I mean, it could be you might need a whole total site redesign. Right. Your content might be copied from another website, or it could just be, forgive my language, but crap.
Yeah, I mean, it can be.
But yeah, so that evaluation needs to be done, and if they come back with a good report that gives you an idea of what needs to be done, and they can give you tangible information on your competition, your backlinks, and what your competitors are doing. That's as far as that. Life is good after that. Your site should be golden. Yep. But it doesn't happen overnight, and that's the thing that people don't understand. I mean, yeah, we can do an AdWords campaign for you, and you could start doing traffic overnight. But with SEO, it's an investment. It can take up to a year depending on what you're trying to rank for. It could take longer, and I know it's hard to understand that we don't give a guarantee, but it's up to Google how it's going to rank. But our job as an SEO is to make sure that your site is best prepared and optimized. And with Google seeing that your content is good, your traffic's going from page to page, and they're buying stuff, your conversion rate's high, Google sees all that in Google Analytics. And for that, they're going to rank your site. They're going to help you. I mean, they're going to say, okay, these guys must be relevant to what these searches are, and your site is going to come up. They reward sites that have valued content and products and services. So our job as SEOs is to make sure all that connects. The customer understands what you're offering. Help me out, Caleb. I went on a tangent there.
Well, I mean, I think the important thing for a lot of people who are seeking SEO help is to do as much of your own research as you can.
Yeah.
Learn as much as you can about the process. Learn as much as you can about the terminology. Learn the trends yourself. And so when you do talk to somebody about them helping you with your SEO, your on-page optimization, building, so on and so forth, you have a good understanding of what they're talking about. And you can actually help manage your own expectations on how long it's going to take and what needs to be done. So, if you do have a website, you should be doing that anyway, because you need to know what's affecting it and what you definitely need to do to help optimize your site to make it user-friendly.
Yeah, and a good SEO is going to come up with a strategy for you. He's going to take you and walk you through the whole thing. He should not leave the table from you without questions. Like, you should have all your questions answered. If he comes up with a strategy, he's going to do some competitive analysis, some keyword research. He's going to evaluate your site first and foremost to see if there's anything wrong there, and he's going to deep dive into your analytics to see what your traffic's like, your conversion rates, what keywords are bringing in traffic now, if any, what paid stuff, all that stuff is going to be put together and then formulated into a strategy so that when you go into that client, when you leave the table, they are so clear on what you plan on doing. And then the other thing is I would have to leave out, I did not want to leave out, is make sure that your SEO gives you reporting every month.
Yes.
You're not going to see a lot of stuff in the first couple of months on ranking and stuff, but because most of it may be fixing your website and getting that stuff straight. But every month you should have a report that says, okay, he did the SEO did, link building, or he did site optimization, or all that stuff. You need to have deliverables. You can't go off his word. You want to see, because sometimes when you might not see, it might be back-end stuff that we're doing, like a title tag or meta descriptions and all that stuff, and you physically, can't see a difference there, but there is work going on behind the scenes, and without a report, you don't know that. As far as you know, that guy's just sitting home collecting a check, or sitting in the office collecting a check, wherever you hire him from. And the other thing I would say, and I just brought that up, is I wouldn't hire a company overseas. Nothing against India or any of those other places, but you need somebody that's close by that you can contact at any time during business hours. And if they're not doing a good job, you can be on them. You can. It's a little bit safer, and make sure it's an expert, because if it's not, 10 times. I mean, working with people in the past, I've seen people trying to save money by going to India, and they have great sites and they're getting all kinds of traffic, but after that they get a penalty, and then their site goes from making $100,000 a month in sales to zero.
Right.
Then how much did you actually save when you went over to
Nothing.
You lost a lot of money.
You lost a lot. Well, I think I liked what you touched on as far as there's certain things you're not going to see within the first couple of months. You might not see ranking. You might not see, whether you're going for a specific keyword, so on and so forth. You might not see certain things on where your site ranks within the search engines, moving up and down. You're not going to be on page one, but there's stuff you can definitely see, tangible information that you can see that work's actually being done. And like you said, the on-page optimization, which is a really big deal. It's not going to have an immediate impact on what you're doing and what you're trying to do, but as far as the rankings go, but as far as setting your website up long term, it's going to have a huge impact, whether changing, like you said, H1 tags, meta descriptions, focusing on keywords, the content on your site. You could have duplicate content, making sure that's all quality and unique. So there's stuff that they need to be doing on the front end that's going to be setting your website up that will start helping produce rankings. Right,
exactly. And what I keep going on important things, but I keep thinking of something as I'm talking. But what you want to make sure too is the person you're working with is either a team of people or a person that has multi multiple talents. If it's conversion optimization, that and that's part of search engine optimization is. And I even hate the name search engine optimization. It should be like site optimization because it kind of gives a negative connotation that you're trying to cheat the search engine, but we're not, But you want to make sure that they have multiple talents. Either that or you're working with a team of people if you have the budget that, they can do social media, they can do website design, they can do conversion optimization. Because it's all part of the picture. They got to be technical on the side of maybe making your site load faster or your what else, Caleb? Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree.
Because if you have a person, I can rank your site, but they don't know how to fix a website.
Right. I mean, you got to have. There's so much that goes into SEO now. I mean, it's not the simple 3-step process. Rinse and repeat. I mean, you got to have people that are knowledgeable on all aspects of SEO because one little hiccup could cost you big time.
Right, and your content needs to be done by a professional. You might be a good writer, but there's such a technique and an art into writing, especially when it goes to an e-commerce site or a site that sells a product or service. You've got to be able to create that funnel so that it drives a person to that conversion or action you want on that site. Maybe sign up for a mailing list or purchase a product or even a service, whatever.
Right.
But it's a real talent. It's not just writing about what you offer. There's a skill involved there, and writing so that people can understand it and keep their interest. It's a real talent. I personally use someone else that's a professional. I don't write myself.
Right. Well, you got to have a whole different mindset to be able to do that. Yeah. And it can be different with your blog. Your blog, you can kind of write about whatever you got going on. Definitely. But when you're talking about your on-page content, it's a real art on how to get to people to actually engage with your website, engage with your product. And actually, like I said, don't bounce off within 30 seconds. They want to learn more. They want to keep going. They want to go into all your inner pages, and they just want to stay engaged with your website.
Yeah, I mean, it's why they call it a conversion funnel. So, I mean, you got to keep them going. Plus, like we were talking about earlier with the bounce rates, you want to write that content so at least they go to the next page to keep that bounce rate down, because the lower your bounce rate is, then Google's going to say, this must be relevant content. So let's raise that person up on that, on that rank so that we can send more people their way, because they're obviously relevant.
Yeah, like you said, that's one thing that it tells you a lot about your website is your bounce rate. And I suggest keeping a good eye on each week, just how that's going and what pages, why they're bouncing off. It'll tell you everything, and you can adjust your content geared off what you can learn from that through your analytics. And so it's definitely something that you need to monitor consistently, because it will help you optimize your website. Right.
And I think that covers just about everything for this show, or this episode. What I think we should do is maybe in the coming episodes is dive deep into maybe talking about what is, how to title your pages, or, get a little deeper into SEO, like the actual on-page optimization.
Get technical with it.
Yeah. And we can talk deep.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have some callers on that.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for listening in, and we enjoy the show.
Good first round, I think.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. This is great.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.